I mean, through it all, right? Like through everything, like I had to stay sober.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't gonna get anywhere if I went back to the way I was, previously living my life. But there was, some other things that for me that were important that actually we hear Courtney mention is therapy.
Therapy.
Right? Like she went to therapy after she got sober, and therapy for me, it's something I still do to this day.
Yeah.
Because there are things that I need to work with somebody on a weekly or semi-weekly basis that's not something that I can take to my sponsor. You know what I mean? Like
He may not understand or may have never been in that position.
Exactly. And it's not that, that I feel my sponsor incapable. It's simply that it's not an AA thing, right? It's not appropriate for that relationship. And so I think that it's important that we continue to address these sort of underlying issues. And for me, that was something that I did in therapy. I also have flirted with some of the stuff that she mentioned, the EMDR stuff, which for those that don't know stands for eye movement desensitization, desensitization. And there's an R there that I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, it's something.
Anyways, and that's actually a really interesting process that I don't think is actually appropriate for everything, but I think that there is a lot of value that can come from it. And I've had some good successes and sort of good insight as a result of some of that stuff. And I think that I don't know, like all this stuff is just, it's more stuff that I can add to what I'm already doing in order to hopefully just keep that self-love improving.
Yeah.
And keep that negative self-talk at bay, which for me is like one of the most critical things.
Yeah. And what I did, I mean, therapy, we've talked about therapy on the show, and we've had Chris on the show who is a therapist. And for me, it was sexual therapy specifically, sexual and relationship therapy that really, really helped me out because, sexuality is one of those things that not everybody has the same flavor or same experience with, right? And so when I was trying to have a healthy sexual outlook, and I just felt sexually fucked up all the time, right? Because I cheated on everybody I was with. I never had like a successful sexual relationship, if you will. There was some sexual abuse as a child. All those things, my sponsor and other people in AA aren't necessarily professionally equipped to even explore that on the level that sometimes it needs to be. And so I went to a relationship therapist after Avery and I were having some problems. She actually engaged with that therapist, and I was willing to go in there and look at it. And it turned out that I'm not as fucked up as I think I am, but there's some stuff going on with me sexually, hormonally, and psychologically that I didn't understand, that I didn't have the means to even find out. Right. And so by going to that therapist and adding that information and that experience to my overall sobriety and growth was a huge step forward for me to be able to find more self-worth and more self-acceptance in that area and be able to work on and move towards a more healthy sexual me. Right. To where I no longer view sex as right or wrong or good or bad, or the way that I did before. I'm able to look at sexuality as part of the human condition. It's not necessarily part of my alcoholism or anything like that. And it was huge for me to not still hold on to sexual grievances of the past. I needed that space, and I no longer go to her anymore, but she's still a resource if needed, right? Because it's a lot of times, you guys, we can go back and we can fall back into the things that we forgot we had learned. Like we can forget the things that we learned and go backwards. And as long as, like you said, I keep that footing in sobriety, I stay sober, and I stay moving forward, understanding that the direction I want to go is in growth, right? If I stay in that space and maybe I forget that I'm not sexually fucked up, or maybe I forget that, eating certain foods puts me in a tailspin. I have the resources and I have the ability to go back to square one and go, okay, this worked for me before. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I need to start over and remember some other stuff and do some work there.
Yeah.